Kent State University is located in Kent, Ohio, and was established as a university in 1910. On the darkest day of Kent State's history, which caused a ripple effect in the nation, was on May 4th, 1970, otherwise known as the Kent State shootings.
There are many events that led to the Kent State shooting. The riots due to the Vietnam War drafting. In retaliation to the war draft, there were bar riots, burning draft cards, massive protests, and the burning of the ROTC building at Kent State. This called for immediate government intervention at the federal level because it got out of hand, so the government sent in federal troop, the National Guard, to contain the chaos.
Due to a series of military operations conducted in eastern Cambodia, the objective was to defeat off approximately 40,000 troops of the People's Army of Vietnam and the National Front for the Liberation of South Vietnam. Cambodia's official neutrality and military weakness made its territory effectively a safe zone where Vietnamese communist forces could establish bases for operations over the border. Nixon sought to shore up South Vietnam's security by eliminating the cross-border threat.
On May 1st, 1970, Kent State riots against the Vietnam War began with demonstrations with 500 was held on the Commons, and by 1 p.m., a group of students watched the graduate students burn a copy of the U.S. Constitution, while another student burned his draft card. This became an icon of the rise and a huge spark that started.
On May 2nd, students burned the ROTC building at Kent State, and the National Guard made many arrests and used tear gas in order to suppress the riots. One student was slightly wounded with a bayonet, but this only angered the students further and pushed them to want to riot even more.
On May 3rd, Governor Jim Rhodes called the protesters un-American, referring to them as revolutionaries sent on destroying their higher education in Ohio. At 8 p.m., another rally was held. At 8:45 p.m., guardsmen used tear gas in order to disperse the crowds, and the students held a sit-in. At 11 p.m., guardsmen announced that a curfew had gone into effect and began forcing the students back into their dorms. This was a temporary solution to a huge problem, and on the next day, the riots were inevitable, and the curfew only angered the college students.
On May 4th, 2,000 people gained on the Commons. Protests began with ringing of the campus iron victory bell. Armed cavalry Ohio National Guardsmen attempted to disperse students. Guards used tear gas to try to disperse the students. Students threw rocks and tear gas cans previously thrown at them back at the National Guards. A group of 77 National Guard troops with bayonets fixed on their M1 Garand rifles began to advance upon the hundreds of protesters. 29 of the 77 guardsmen claimed to have fired their weapons. Shooting lasted 13 seconds, and it quickly dispersed the riots. In the result of the shooting, 4 people were killed.
Due to the media's photographs and videos of the dead and wounded in the Kent State riots, this caused a worldwide sentiment against the U.S. invasion of Cambodia and the Vietnam War in general. Due to the protests and the National Guard reactions, this caused many more universities widespread to protest the war effort, and there was a widespread student strike after the shooting, with more than 450 campuses across the U.S. that closed with both violent and non-violent demonstrations.